Hello, and welcome to this video. A special welcome if you're joining from the meditation group in uni. This is the end of the first half of the mindfulness journey that we're doing, and it's a powerful topic about shifting our relationship with the stress response and with the stressors that we experience, empowering us to respond from awareness and choice rather than react. And before we begin into this, I think it's important to have a bit more of an understanding about stress. And to do so, it helps to know its original purpose. So in our past, stressors like a predator actually threatened our survival. And the acute stress response was essential. It helped us survive by fighting, by fleeing, or freezing. But now, most of us are blessed to not live in a state where we need to constantly have this acute stress response. We're not surrounded by things that threaten our survival on the daily, but rather we face these smaller but more constant stressors that generates chronic stress. And this persistent low-grade activation is what's unhealthy, from work, deadlines, social pressures. Our society is not conducive to not activating a chronic stress response. Though even with chronic stress, it's not helpful to wish it were to be changed, or to deny it, to eliminate it, but to change our relationship, to shift our relationship with the chronic stress response and with the chronic stressors, you could say. And this means viewing it as a helpful, adaptive response still, and understanding that it actually makes us more social. So there are two main takeaways that come from studies of stress that are really helpful in shifting this relationship with it. And number one is that the body is still preparing us for something. When we feel physical symptoms of stress, whether it's acute or chronic, like a racing heart or sweaty palms, remember the stress is preparing us to meet a challenge. And when we're not stressed about the stress, our physiological experience actually changes. So our heart rate may be still elevated, but the blood vessels actually are not constricted anymore. And this is similar to the state that we are in when we're experiencing joy or courage. And so when we truly believe with our whole being, mind, body, and spirit, and are not afraid of the stress response anymore, and view it still as something that's helping us to perform well and something that we care about, we stop being stressed about the stress, and our physiological state actually shifts to a healthier one. And the second takeaway is that stress actually encourages connection. So a key hormone that's produced in the stress response is the release of oxytocin, which is known as the social support hormone, and encourages us to seek connection. And when we seek connection, we produce more oxytocin, which enhances our stress resilience. It actually acts as an anti-inflammatory, reducing the heart rate. It helps repair the heart rate and the blood vessels from the stress response, and actually builds resilience, both physiologically and also emotionally, by understanding that when we reach out to others, we know that we're not alone in this stress, and it's not something that we have to face alone. And so the core message is that the harmful effects of stress are not inevitable, and our beliefs and actions can actually transform our relationship with the stress response and the stressors. And transforming our beliefs includes viewing the stress response as as something that's helpful, which enables the biology of joy and courage. And regarding transforming our actions, involving connecting with others under stress, it enhances our resilience. And this brings us to part 3 of this video, where I'll share tools to do both of those things, so transforming our beliefs and our actions. So yes, let's get into the practical tools. So there's a very simple and powerful tool called the STOP method. And it's a short mindfulness practice that creates a really impactful pause between a stress trigger and the outcome that it elicits from us. empowering us to, again, respond with awareness and choice rather than react. And then from that intentional space that we create with the help of this tool, we can consciously reframe our relationship to the stressor and to the stress response. We can see it as our body's way of mobilizing energy and focus and resources for something that is deeply important to us. And then from there, we can choose to connect with others. In order to, talking about the stress, reaching out to a loved one. And from these steps, we transform our beliefs about the stress and the stress response, enabling the biology of courage and joy. And we enhance our resilience by connecting with others. So let's get into this first tool, the STOP method. So this STOP method provides some clear, easy to remember steps for us to actually use in moments that we are, that we do realize that we're getting, reacting to a trigger instead of responding. So S is to stop. So pausing whatever it is we're doing. And T is for taking a breath. So taking one slow and deep, mindful breath and just feeling it. And then O is to observe, so to notice what is happening in the here and now with curiosity and with kindness. So what thoughts are coming up? Is it of worry, of rumination, of planning? What sensations are coming up? Heart pounding? Are the palms sweating? And then what feelings are coming up? Is it feeling overwhelmed or irritated or anxious? And simply noticing, without judgment, without fear of any of these things, because then that, kickstarts kind of like a loop. Just noticing them, observing. And then P is to proceed, is to continue with what we were doing with intentional attention to the here and now, from a place of awareness and choice and kindness. And once we've created this intentional pause with the help of this tool, we can practice reframing our relationship to the stressor and to the stress. And here are some examples, like if our hearts are racing, it's our body giving us energy, so we can capitalize on this, something that we care about, to do something that we care about. Are we feeling nervous? It's often because we're doing something that really matters to us and we want to do it well. Are we feeling overwhelmed? It's the body's way of saying, perhaps let's start shifting our priorities of what matters most to me, spend more energy there, and what matters less. And so to view the positive intention of the stress response that is being elicited, because it is coming from a positive place. Our body wants to help us. And so the idea is not to deny stress, but to ask, okay, what can I learn? How am I gaining strength here? And from there, as we're, we're reframing consciously our relationship to the stress and to the stressor and choosing our actions or what to do about it, we can also choose to connect with others if that feels right. And often we don't, perhaps in some moments we feel like people won't get it, or we're alone in this response, or we're alone in this, in these feelings, but we're not. Just simply reach out to a friend, family member. It doesn't have to be, very formal or something so high stakes. Just be like, I'm feeling this. And even if you want it to be a bit more formal, and if this is something that you want to talk more about with perhaps even someone that knows more about how to navigate these stressors, then that's also something that perhaps the stress is urging you to want to do. And by doing so, we build resilience. And so in the next video, I'm actually going to do it right after this. We'll do a guided practice to bring a stressor to mind and to practice using these tools. So the STOP method, to actually create that intentional pause. From that pause, reframing our relationship to that stressor and focusing on the positive intention of what the stress response is actually, trying to elicit. And then actions we can take from there. So yeah, I think it would be a great way to practice and embody this, so that when we do, in those moments of actual stress where we're less likely to remember and view it come from a rational place because we're not used to doing that, these practices help to strengthen that skill in like in a controlled space, you could say, so we can bring it out in times where it's actually most needed. So I hope this was helpful, and may this resonate with you, and